battle as well.
Here they come. Down to the chicane then, so Fuoco inching his way up onto the back of the Porsche, Mathieu Jaminet. Antonio Fuoco, it was 0.4 of a second at the sector, covering off the inside line. Look, here's Jaminet. He just hangs on to the race lead. They're going to be nose to tail into, through and out of the second chicane. But it is more now potentially when rather than if Antonio Fuoco gets into the lead, Martin Haven.
And this is because the Ferrari is on 4 new tyres. The Porsche did not take tyres at the last stint. So the Ferraris with a definite advantage.
And Jaminet working overtime down to Mulsanne corner to try to hang on to the lead. Fuoco almost on the outside, running out of road. Now he wants a tighter line off the corner. Jaminet then with the Ferrari almost hidden behind him. And then you've got Vanthoor in third place, getting closer and closer. Jaminet goes defensive, hugs the inside line. Here comes Fuoco round the outside. The move is on, the move is almost done. Ferrari just ahead. Jaminet has to give way in the end. Ferrari leads Le Mans. Up into the lead goes Antonio Fuoco. Jaminet comes back at him on the outside line. No, you don't, says Fuoco. Brave racing between the two, but the Ferrari is ahead.
2 little battles going on behind as well as Toyota starts to follow the Ferrari up the field. Brendan Hartley behind Antonio Giovinazzi is now ahead of Dries Vanthoor. But Ferrari with the lead of the race, and Laurens Vanthoor behind in the number 6 Porsche, also still on the tyres at which they started 2 hours and 35 minutes ago, but closing in on Mathieu Jaminet.
Which is interesting because consistently over the last 2 or 3 laps he has been the faster of the 3. Okay, Fuoco now released, ought to be able to prove what his lap times can be, but for Vanthoor to be doing that on older rubber anyway, impressive. Here's Fuoco trying to get himself up through the traffic. Gets by, but Jaminet not that far adrift now.
Yeah, the Iron Lynx Mercedes didn't really give him very much room. He can't afford to give him much room or he'll have a crash. And so that puts Jaminet back on the tail of Antonio Fuoco. But the Ferrari, with a top speed advantage and fresh tyres, Peter, should be able to stretch his lead away. I think the real problem for Jaminet is the other Porsche Penske, the number 6 car, closing in from behind.
Yeah, again, traffic ahead, so potentially that three cars will get back together again. Okay, and actually it's the opposite, so the Ferrari got by at the opportune time and made that gap. So yeah, Fuoco now, bit of a gap. Vanthoor just passing around the outside. So the 3 car are pretty steady now.
But for there, Mathieu Jaminet, he encountered that GT3 Ferrari at exactly the wrong place. Something else that drivers are having to factor in is visibility, not because of the spray, not because of the darkness, but the number of dead bugs on the windscreen. The insects have been a common talking point about the weekend. We've seen so many onboard shots with windscreens splattered, and the drivers now struggling to see as we look in replay at this really brave move by Fuoco.
He had the speed, Peter, and you've got to use it, haven't you?
As you say, new tyres, he got out of Mulsanne corner swiftly, was able to draw alongside. You saw Jaminet tried to do the side draft to pull him back again, but the Ferrari just had too much pace and was able to pull ahead.
And remember, it's on new tyres as well. This is the replay of them in super slow-mo coming through the chicane. How much curb is used and how much air the car gets underneath it. We love these shots, and the engineers absolutely hate them. They wince as they imagine what's going through their prides and joys. But there's applause then within the Ferrari AF Corsa pit bunker because they now have the lead of Le Mans.
And our guest from Ferrari had just left the booth before that happened. So now then, number 8 Toyota, that's going to be interesting as well. This is up to 5th place now with Brendan Hartley. Right behind him is the 15 BMW, 6th place, I beg your pardon. So this is 6th and 7th. They've been within a second for the remainder of this stint. Now, 15 did not take new tyres. The number 20 BMW did take new tyres. Let's see what the number 8 took. I don't think the Toyota's yet. No, Toyota is on fresh rubber.
What about number 7 out of interest? Because that's just done the absolute best first sector of the race, number 7.
Fresh rubber as well at the last stint. So they're currently 8 laps old. And having started behind the pack, now is the time to start to use that rubber. The Porsches with good on-track position, Peter, just trying to stretch that lead. And this is the way Porsche have won Le Mans so many times, is by stretching fuel, stretching rubber, because the less time you spend in the pits, the more times you're doing 200 miles an hour out on track. It's what tends to win races.
And impressive to see that they're, as you said, they're still in the starting rubber. So what is that? 2 hours and 37 minutes ago. So, yeah, very impressive. They've made their tyres last that long.
Kamui Kobayashi, purple sector 1 in the number 7 Toyota, personal best sector 2 in the number 7 Toyota. So he is closing down Nick Tandy in the number 4 Porsche that led early on.
13th, though, is that Toyota, so a lot of work to be done. There's the quicker one, the sister car, number 8 of Brendan Hartley. Let's listen.
An excellent job. Currently, energy is looking good. Override is available in traffic or for defense. Override available in traffic or for defense.
Feedback from the team. He's managed to get an LMP2 car between himself and the pursuing Dries Vanthoor. That gap, Martin, has just shot up, hasn't it, with the slower car being found at the wrong part of the racetrack.
And Peter, you know all about this. If you catch traffic in the wrong place, it can cost you what feels like a lifetime, and laps and laps and laps of grinding up to your guy in front is gone in a heartbeat.
Exactly, but it can work both ways. Sometimes you benefit from that, and you're the one who's shot up behind the car in front, and you've not really earned it. So, you know, it ebbs and flows, and through the course of 24 hours, you generally ride your luck.
Now, one of the things with the overcast this afternoon is that the track temperature is lower than it was in free practice, and so the cars are feeling different. The setup isn't working maybe quite the way they wanted. And the other thing, talking about the fly squish on the windscreens, is that when the sun drops right down, particularly when you're heading down to Arnage or down towards Indianapolis, going straight into the sun, actually there'll be less glare. However, having just said that, you can see now actually that some of the cloud cover is moving away, so never mind that. Dries Vanthoor with Earl Bamber dropping back. Now, we saw that contact in the chicane where the Ferrari ran into the back of the 38 car, and in super slow motion you could see the body gap between the rear panel and the center of the car moving. Now, if that has not settled back perfectly, if one of the body panels is out of line or the wing is very slightly not straight, then that is going to be an enormous sail causing huge drag. Back to second place, Mathieu Jaminet. As you can see, new tyres. Same for Laurens Vanthoor. Vanthoor has a 1-lap offset, having stopped just a lap later, but he's got the speed in the car.
And fighting now for second rather than for the race lead. They are already over 2 seconds back from Fuoco. Let's listen to Jaminet.
What's your main limitations right now?
I cannot brake and I cannot steer. The rear is all over the place, and I lock the rear as soon as I touch the brakes.
Right.
Crypto when you can.
That is not a compliant race car, that's for sure, is it? If you can't brake and can't steer, that's pretty fundamental. That's not a good place to be.
And the last thing you want is a rear locking, especially into the corners, because that just throws the rear end round into an oversteer, and you've got to really control your speed into the corners, which is why he's struggling now, and he's got Vanthoor right on his bumper.
We talk all week long about how the track changes, how it evolves as it rubbers up. We've had 2 significant nighttime rainstorms over this week, and that has taken some of the rubber out, and the track's come back, and now it is continuing to evolve. The lower track temperatures, and they're at least 10 degrees Celsius, so nearly 20 degrees Fahrenheit, lower than they were in free practice 3 and in qualifying in the afternoons. They're very different. It's a very different racetrack from what they practiced on. So the engineer is still, with the driver trying to balance it, and Jaminet got boxed in, and Vanthoor just went whistling by.
Up into second place then, so that was Mathieu Jaminet getting stuck behind the Kessel Run Ferrari. He's cleared him now, but a great opportunistic move by Vanthoor. Jaminet committed to the move and then realised it wasn't going to happen. He had to back out of it, and Vanthoor had all the road ahead of him. So Vanthoor is up into second place. He's gone storming by, and that is not good news at all for Jaminet, who, don't forget, that car was so good in the first 2 stints of the race. Now, in quick succession, it's got shuffled back to third.
Again, the track is evolving away from what they have, and that's what the engineer is going to be talking to him, working with anti-roll bars, working with brake balance, working with torque settings to try and bring the car back. And this is where it happened, as you say. Jaminet went inside, and then there was no inside to be on.
Ferrari chopped across, he had to slam on the brakes, and Vanthoor was able to just swing round the outside.
The road just opened up for Vanthoor, didn't it? Look at that. Straight round the outside, job done. And this is how he saw it. To the inside line goes Jaminet, realised it wasn't on, backed out of it. Round the outside comes Van Thor. Thank you very much.
But also, Peter, hoping against hope that the Ferrari doesn't twitch away, because there's a Porsche inside him, a hypercar inside him, and he was lucky he didn't, you know. Well-driven Kessel Racing Ferrari. By the way, we're into our second round of pit stops now, fourth round of pit stops now for LMP2. Inter Europol still leading as they run long again, but Kuba Szmachowski bringing the car in from the lead. We're seeing a couple of pit stops also for Cadillac. 101, the Wayne Taylor racing car, Felipe Albuquerque took it over last time out, and he has just stopped. So too has number 12 Caddy. Back into LMGT3 action. And this is the 77 Ford Mustang. Was it Dennis Olsen driving that one? No, it's Bernardo Sousa now. So they've gone to their bronze driver. So he's in fourth place. Behind him, Akodis ASP's Petra Umbrărescu, Romanian, just ahead of Ryan Hardwick. So this is fourth, fifth and sixth. Nice. Kamui Kobayashi, yikes. And that will have been why we had the yellow flags. He went, in fact, this is Mulsanne corner, so it's gone all the way around. You have to go all the way around the roundabout and rejoin.
Take the third exit.
Yeah, which is recalculating.
Yes, yes.
But number 7, that is a new set of tyres. Was a new set of tyres. Considerably less new now, Peter. When you've done that, how bad does it feel?
Yeah, not nice. I mean, if they're expecting to go for 4 stints on those tyres, they will gradually come back. But the problem is if you hit a breaking point, that's where it will stop, you know?
Yeah, I think not nice is the understatement, isn't it? I mean, they are going to be horrible to drive on. You're on board now then with Drugovich. Now, this is the car fourth. Remember, he is hacking into Jaminet's deficit. It was about 15 seconds, 4 or 5 laps ago. It's down to 9.6.
And look who's coming with him. 51 Ferrari,
Yeah.
our 2023 winners, Antonio Giovinazzi. And Giovi is absolutely turning into a superstar in Ferraris. I mean, it last 3 seasons into a superstar in Ferrari's hypercar program. But Filipe Drugovich, the Action Express Cadillac Whelan 311, that's a Cadillac that's in a different race to the other 3 caddies. The other 3 caddies have all dropped away to a degree. This one has actually progressed as the race has gone on. So I don't know why. I'm not quite sure what it is about their setup that is more efficient, more effective, better, however you'd like to slice that.
Job
They're
done.
still on their starting tyres.
Round the outside's gone the Ferrari then, so he's gained the place. Giovinazzi very quickly deals with Drugovich, takes the place off him, and puts 51 Ferrari up into 4th place. Next target is that troubled Porsche of Jaminet.
And again, Giovi on those fresh tyres from the last stint. These tyres started the race. And the car has inherited a new driver, still on the same tired tyre. And actually, what has been a factor in dealing with the cold tyres and no tyre warmers throughout WEC last season and this, is that teams have learned not to put a new driver out on cold tyres. So normally they'll double stint a driver and triple stint the tyre, so the new driver gets in on hot rubber, even if it's a bit worn. Or they'll do one side. Ferrari have gone clean tyres for each driver.
All good, bud, all good. It's like they just turned up the go meter on that car, so nothing we can do. Just try and hang with them. You were starting to catch the Porsches in front of you. 11.7 to the first Porsche. Let's see if we can get him 11.7.
Okay, and people wonder why everybody goes, oh, it's BOP, they've just turned up the power. You literally cannot turn up the power. You absolutely cannot. There is a maximum power output of 520 kilowatts. And if you exceed that, you get penalised. What he should have told his driver is, don't worry, bud, they're on brand new tyres. Ours are 4 stints old. You're still keeping up an equally good lap time to anybody else on old tyres. It's not about they've turned up the power. Stop with this nonsense. Engineers, it is data-driven. You know that is not true. Tell him he's on old tyres. I mean, just how are we supposed to explain to fans that this is not a fix and a fiddle and people are adjusting boost pressure here and there? It's not the 80s.
Next week in Soapbox Corner, Martin Haven will discuss Brexit.
Well, listen,
Oh, don't get him started on that.
if I can't have a rant, but genuinely, engineers, be
Should we just
better.
go? Should we just go to the pub? We'll let him carry on now. He's got 21 hours to rant about it.
I've just saved Graham Goodwin from saying all of that.
Fair
because
enough,
he would have said
right.
exactly the same.
Beautifully put, Martin. We are indebted to you. However, Antonio Giovinazzi, he says, returning to the plot, is now setting off in very rapid pursuit of Mathieu Jaminet. And Giovinazzi's last lap was the car's best of the race. He is hacking away not only at Jaminet, but he's also now catching Van Thor, who is the race leader. And he's the race leader because Fuoco is having made a pit stop.
Now, at home, you might be wondering why we're looking at the battle for 9th place. The reason we're looking at the battle for 9th place is that performance of the privately run 99 Proton Porsche is underlining Porsche's speed here, because they have not been a top 10 factor for much of this season, but they are now. So that car is running well. Yes, it's coming close to the end of the stint, but it's all over the back of the podium of the Alpine.
Okay, Jim, box this lap for energy only, box this lap.
So Nico Vareni being told to box for energy.